Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we're going to be diving into Data Patterns, India Limited.
Oh, yeah, Data Patterns.
An Indian company making waves, in the defense and aerospace industries.
Interesting.
So you shared their second quarter 2025 earnings call transcript. And I got to say, it's packed with financial terms, all that industry jargon, so we're here to break it all down.
Okay.
You ready to explore their business model?
Let's do it.
Key segments, the order book, future prospects.
Yeah.
And, of course, the risks.
All right, let's jump in.
Let's jump right in.
It's a pretty interesting case study, especially seeing a company like this coming from India.
Yeah.
It seems like they're playing a pretty crucial role in modernizing those defense capabilities.
Absolutely. And, the first thing that stood out to me reading through that transcript,
Yeah.
their emphasis on in-house design and development.
Okay.
They really hammered home the point that they're not just a system integrator.
Right.
Buying and reselling technology.
Yeah, makes sense. I mean, especially in an industry like defense, right, where control over all that intellectual property and the supply chain is, really important.
Oh, absolute paramount.
Yeah. And that approach, it not only lets them offer competitive pricing.
Right.
And maybe faster delivery, but it also gives them a real edge in terms of, security.
Oh, for sure.
Independence.
And then they back it up, right?
Right.
By saying 70% of their workforce, development engineers.
Wow.
Clearly putting their money where their mouth is when it comes to innovation.
Yeah, that's a strong indicator, isn't it, of their commitment to staying ahead of the curve.
Big time.
Because in a field that's as, dynamic, as fast-moving as defense and aerospace,
yeah,
continuous R&D, it's absolutely key.
So let's talk about where they're focusing all this brain power. It seems like their main thing is radars.
Okay.
Especially for airborne applications. So think fighter jets, helicopters, drones, equipping them with a high-tech set of eyes.
And what's really fascinating is their work with, have you heard of gallium nitride-based radars?
GaN-based radars. I gotta admit, that's a little over my head.
Okay, so think of it this way. They're like the next generation of radar technology, offering way better performance, efficiency compared to your traditional radars.
Okay.
And Data Patterns, they've already delivered these cutting-edge systems, like to ISRO, India's space agency, and the Indian Armed Forces, too.
Okay.
And they're also bidding on a whole bunch of major upcoming contracts. So this could be like a big turning point for them.
Yeah, it sounds like they're really becoming a key player in modernizing India's, defense capabilities.
Right.
But it's not just the radars, right?
Yeah.
They're also heavily involved in electronic warfare systems.
Oh, right.
So that's technology designed to disrupt enemy radar and communications.
Right. Yeah. Like a high stakes, electronic hide and seek.
It's like you're saying, it's not just about seeing what's out there. It's also about making sure the enemy can't see you.
Exactly.
Got it.
And, Data Patterns' expertise in this area really adds another layer of appeal for defense customers.
And then there's their work in avionics. They're providing, those essential systems for aircraft. So it sounds like they've got a pretty diverse portfolio of tech here.
They do. And that's another sign of their, strategic thinking, diversification. It's a huge asset in this industry.
Yeah.
It lets them cater to a wider range of customers, maybe mitigate some risks too.
Right. So we've got this impressive range of tech, a clear focus on innovation. But how does it actually translate into business? Let's look at their order book.
Okay, yeah.
As of September 30th, they had a pretty healthy 971 crores in orders.
All right.
But get this, it's grown even more since then. It's reached 1,181 crores.
Wow.
Including negotiated orders.
That's fantastic. I mean, that's a great sign of, market traction.
And this order book, it gives them good revenue visibility for the coming quarters, which is always reassuring.
Right, exactly.
And they're not just sitting back, They're projecting 800 crores in new orders for this fiscal year alone.
Wow.
And wait for it, they're targeting a massive 3,000 crores over the next 18 to 24 months.
Whoa. Those are some ambitious targets. It seems like they're pretty confident about their growth, their trajectory, and their investment in R&D. I mean, that definitely reinforces that idea.
Speaking of investment, they're planning to spend 150 crores on R&D over the next 2 years alone.
Wow.
On top of the year-end 24 crores they've already invested in the past 5 years.
That's serious commitment. It's like they're saying we're not just playing the game, we're setting the pace. this forward-thinking approach, I mean, it's likely to pay off, especially in a landscape that's evolving so quickly.
It's clear that they're not just content with their current offerings. They're looking to expand their reach, both geographically and, technologically.
Yeah.
They already have customers in Europe and East Asia.
Okay.
And they're actively exploring, expanding even more internationally.
Well, it makes sense, when you look at the bigger picture. Global demand for advanced defense technologies. It's on the rise. And Data Patterns is well positioned to, grab a piece of that.
But of course, it's not all smooth sailing time.
Yeah.
They even acknowledge that their revenue can be a little unpredictable.
Right.
Due to the whole nature of government contracts.
Yeah.
They mentioned this significant delay in a 27 crore delivery just this quarter.
Oh, wow.
Which actually impacted their revenue growth.
Yeah, that just highlights, the risk of relying too much on government customers.
Yeah.
Procurement processes can be lengthy.
For sure.
Subject to changes.
It's like trying to, navigate a ship through rough waters, be prepared for anything.
Yeah.
And they also acknowledge the ever-present threat of competition.
Of course, yeah.
While they don't seem to have too much competition domestically yet, those international players, always a force to be reckoned with.
Definitely. That's where that commitment to innovation comes into play, right?
Every time.
Staying ahead of the curve, absolutely crucial, especially when you're going up against, the big guys.
They also mentioned something I found interesting. Their debtor days. They're pretty long, averaging 243 days.
Huh. It's not unusual in this industry, but it's definitely something to keep an eye on.
Right.
Longer debtor days mean it takes them longer to collect payments, which can, tie up cash flow.
It's like waiting for that big paycheck to arrive, right?
Yeah.
It can make things a little tight.
Yes, they seem to be in a decent spot financially overall, but they've got to address those challenges to really keep growing and stay profitable.
So we've got this interesting company, solid business model, exciting growth prospects, and a few, inherent risks to navigate. What are your initial thoughts? What stands out so far?
What really intrigues me is, that they're so committed to developing everything in-house. Mm-hmm. They're not just following trends, they're creating them. And that's a bold strategy, right?
Right.
It could really position them as a leader.
It's like they're building their own, technological fortress.
Yeah.
Ready to take on the world.
But their success will depend on, navigating all those government contracts.
Right.
And staying ahead of that tech curve, constantly pushing the boundaries.
It's a delicate balance.
Yeah.
But they seem to be on the right track. Now let's shift gears a bit and explore another crucial aspect of their business.
Yeah, let's do it.
Their financials. Let's see what story they tell.
Okay.
Their financials. Let's see what story they tell.
Okay.
During the earnings call, Data Patterns CFO, he highlighted a few key metrics.
Okay.
That give us a peek into their financial health,
Mm-hmm.
He emphasized their strong financial position.
Okay.
Particularly their debt-free balance sheet.
Mm.
And they have over 557 crores in cash and cash equivalents.
That's a lot. That's a healthy reserve.
That's a pretty nice war chest, right?
Yeah.
Gives them that financial flexibility to invest in growth, weather those storms.
Right.
Seize opportunities.
It's like having a really solid foundation,
Yeah, it's like having that secure base to launch these ambitious plans.
Right, exactly. It reflects, smart financial management, not just focusing on top-line growth, but also on long-term sustainability.
But as with any business, there are areas for improvement.
Sure.
Their CFO acknowledged that their revenue can be, a bit lumpy.
Yeah.
Due to, relying on those government contracts.
Right, we talked about that.
Like we discussed earlier.
Yeah, that unpredictability, it can make it, hard to forecast.
It's like trying to budget, for a household.
Right.
When your income is fluctuating. Requires careful planning.
They also mentioned the whole longer debtor days thing.
Right.
Which can tie up cash flow and potentially impact their ability to actually fund those growth initiatives.
It's like, having a lot of money owed to you.
Yeah.
But you can't actually access it right away.
Makes things a little tight.
Yeah. So they seem to be in a good financial position overall.
Yeah, I think so.
But they've got to address these challenges to ensure, that continued growth, that profitability.
Right.
Now let's zoom out a bit. Look at the bigger picture. One of the key factors influencing their trajectory, I think, is the Indian government's push for self-reliance in defense.
Right.
This Atmanirbhar Bharat policy, creating some significant opportunities for domestic companies, like Data Patterns.
It's like a wave of momentum.
Yeah, it's like a wave carrying them forward.
But they still need to navigate it.
They still got to navigate it.
Data Patterns seems, perfectly placed to ride this wave.
They're not just supplying the Indian military. They're becoming like a strategic partner.
Right. It's a win-win, isn't it? I mean, they get to grow their business.
Yeah.
While contributing to a larger national goal.
But it's worth noting, I think, that almost all their sales in India are to government entities.
Oh, okay.
So this heavy reliance on domestic defense spending.
Yeah, it could be a double-edged sword, right?
It could be a double-edged sword.
I mean, while the current government is, very supportive of the defense sector,
right.
Future policy changes, they could have a big impact.
They could have a big impact.
So they're going to need to diversify those revenue streams.
Right.
Reduce their reliance on any one customer, whether it's, the government or a specific agency.
Speaking of competition, let's dig into that landscape a little deeper.
Okay, yeah.
We talked about the lack of significant domestic competition, but what about international? That's where things get really interesting.
It does.
They're going head to head with some of the biggest names out there.
Oh, wow.
Companies with, decades of experience, vast resources.
That's a chess.
It's a bit of a David versus Goliath situation.
Yeah.
But Data Patterns, they seem to have a few tricks up their sleeve.
Okay.
They're focused on those cutting-edge technologies, right? The GaN-based radars, the advanced electronic warfare systems. That gives them a real edge.
Yeah. They're not just trying to catch up. They're trying to jump ahead.
Yeah.
What's also really helpful for them is their agility, their responsiveness.
Right.
As a smaller, nimbler player, they can adapt to, changing customer needs.
Yeah.
Much faster than some of those bigger, slower companies.
They can move quickly, seize those opportunities, adjust course as needed.
Right. Which is a huge advantage in such a fast-moving industry.
Huge advantage.
Yeah.
But let's not underestimate the challenges they face on this global stage, right?
Right.
Competing internationally requires a different level of, investment, marketing, customer support.
It's a whole different ballgame.
It's a whole different ballgame.
Higher stakes.
Higher stakes.
Yeah.
More intense competition. They need to build a strong international brand, establish those reliable partnerships, navigate those complex export regulations.
It's a lot to juggle.
It's a multifaceted challenge, but one they seem pretty determined to tackle.
Their success will depend on leveraging those technological strengths while adapting to the unique demands of the international market.
So to recap, we have this ambitious company, a strong technological foundation, a supportive domestic market, and a clear vision for global expansion.
They're up against some tough competition and some inherent risks, but they seem to have the agility and the determination to really navigate those.
It's a compelling story.
Yeah.
And it'll be interesting to see how they balance their ambitions with the realities of this industry.
For sure.
Now, before we wrap up our deep dive into Data Patterns, let's shift gears one last time. Consider something pretty crucial. We've talked about their technologies, their markets, their financials, their growth plans. But what about the bigger picture?
Let's step back and look at the broader implications of their journey, what it all means.
We've talked about their technologies, their markets, their financials, their growth plans. But what about the bigger picture?
Let's step back and look at the broader implications of their journey, what it all means.
Data Patterns' journey, it's more than just one company's success. It reflects this larger trend, India's growing role in defense and aerospace.
It's a testament to their increasing capabilities and their ambition to become like a global force in these strategic industries.
It's almost like a microcosm of India's own story.
Yeah.
Right? A nation trying to make its mark on the world stage through innovation and technological advancement.
And, their success. It could inspire a whole new generation. I mean, think about it. Indian entrepreneurs, engineers, thinking bigger, pushing those boundaries.
It's a powerful example of how a company can, really contribute to a nation's goals.
Absolutely. But their journey also raises some big questions, about the future of this whole industry.
Yeah.
As Data Patterns expands internationally.
Right.
They're going to have to navigate a pretty complex landscape. The global arms trade, I mean, it's ethical, it's geopolitical.
Oh, for sure. How do they make sure their tech is used responsibly?
Right.
ethically? I mean, both domestically and internationally. That's a huge question for any company.
Yeah, I mean, it's a reminder that, as we make all this technological progress, we can't forget about responsibility. We can't just focus on building the coolest, most advanced tech, We have to think about the impact, make sure it's used for good.
It's a complex issue, no easy answers. But it's a conversation we need to be having.
Definitely. I mean, as technology keeps evolving, this is only going to become more important.
Data Patterns Journey. It's a fascinating case study.
It really is.
Not just for business, but for the bigger questions it raises about technology, ethics, and global responsibility.
And it reminds us that, success in business.
Yeah.
It's not just about the bottom line. It's about, making a difference, a positive impact.
I think we can all agree on that.
Well, we hope this deep dive into data patterns has given everyone, a glimpse into this world, the defense industry, the challenges, the opportunities.
It's certainly dynamic.
It is.
Constantly evolving, and we encourage you to keep exploring it, keep thinking about it.
Right. Engage with it. Have those conversations.
It's about the role of technology in our world.
Because it's a powerful force.
Powerful force. And as their story continues to unfold, it'll be really interesting to see how they navigate it all.
What impact they ultimately have on that global stage.
It's a story worth watching. And we hope, this deep dive has given you a better understanding of everything involved.
The stakes, the players, the challenges.
So until our next deep dive, keep exploring.
Keep questioning.
Keep learning.
We'll see you next time.